We've heard about the police trying to break up the entertainment, but what all the difficulties do you face?
I can still experience some of the things that my father experienced. Means that we haven't moved on very much at all. My father was very, very dark skinned. My mother was at least 3 shades lighter than me. She just looked like a white person who just took a little bit of sun, and she had the straighter hair. So it looked as though my mother was walking down the street with a black guy. So that speaks for itself, okay? There's still controversy even now in places when that happens. So then, when it was happening, yes, there was experience. So the racism was there, with my mum, what you doing with him and things like that, and they were using the N-word a lot.
How did my daddy do it way back then with the colour of his dark skin? Seeing signs of no colours, no Irish, no dogs, no sitting, no drinking, no walking, no anything, but go back to where you come from, you dirty black thing.
My mother looked very much like the Queen Elizabeth of nowadays. Then, how the Queen looked then, because my mother was born around the same time as the Queen was born. Okay, so it looked very, very much the same. My mother styled herself after the Queen. She would listen to the Queen's speech. She wanted to speak the Queen's English, so her patois was turned into the Queen's language. She really, really, really took on the Queen's image and thought that that was the way she would be able to get on life in England.
Did your parents prepare you for the racism?
In my day now, early 60s child, 60s uprising, a lot of things that was coming off on the TV, a lot of things that was happening in America. And because my father knew of the American way of racism being much deeper than the English racism, he was even harder on us when we were born, before we even went to school, what to expect. I mean, 4, 5, 6-year-olds telling us what to expect in school of racism. Imagine. I mean, we were playing in the playground with all different people, and we were wary at that age of the white boys and girls, what we were told at home. We knew there was a difference. So I always had my ears really pricked up high, and I would recoil when white people came over. I would sort of brace myself for what was going to be said. And then when it wasn't, because young children don't really see the colour, it's secondary school, they may see it. But when it wasn't, I would go back home and I would sort of like rebel against what my mother and father were telling me. It's not like that. We're skipping. It's not like that. Because it wasn't. I didn't see it. But everything that they told me registered. And when I went to secondary school, oh yes, I was prepared, because they had already instilled with me what to expect. And unfortunately, what they said was indeed correct.
Yes, you're right, Jannette. It absolutely was. And like you, my mother was trying to instill in me what would happen in the real world. Not in a vicious way, because she believed in just moving on and doing her own thing and making a headway in her life. She didn't complain. In fact, I never, ever, 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 ever saw her complain about anything, my mother. Never. Even racism. I mean, she would warn me about the white people and what they might do. And beware white people, she always says, which they all did, which was good advice back then. But I remember, like you, Jannette, being young, joining the boys' brigade, feeling good, and going back to the arcade where we played the arcade games, the old-fashioned arcade games, feeling happy with my mates, walking out the door and seeing thousands upon thousands of people marching, which was quite unusual. Then you heard what they were saying. They were saying that people like you should leave the country, get out of my country, calling the N-word. And that was a National Front rally. And it petrified us. We ran back in the shop and stayed there for at least half an hour whilst this rally marched past. And I remember being at school once, and we left school, walked home. We had a big commotion. There were lots of police, mounted police in the area, police cars. I said, I wonder what that was. So I walked back towards the school, And my school was the headquarters for the National Front, which is a racist organisation.
Oh.
The headquarters, that's where they met at my school. And these two moments when I was younger just totally transformed my life. It just made me see that. It made me weary and scared. I mean, the anxiety level when I was younger was through the roof. As you may have witnessed too, Jannette, I'd be walking on the street, you had bottles thrown at you, bricks thrown at you. When I was 6 years old, the incident happened in one of my old school. Some white guys caught me in the street, lifted me up, got a knife, put it to my throat. You know, I don't know how we survived, really. Our resilience level must have been really high. But not everybody survived. I mean, amongst my peers, a lot of people who committed suicide. It's only now I realise it's what they went through.
Have conditions changed over the years?
It's not so long ago that the government was trying to force us, as in the first generation here born, back to Jamaica and the Caribbean islands. So as far as political situations and change, I can't say that it has, because there's still that stigma holding over us and having to prove papers. And even though when we came over and our parents before us had built this country up, me being in the NHS, I could have been one of those people that was told, okay, go back, even though I wasn't born there. Excuse me, after all that I did, it rides my back, because it hasn't changed in many, many, many ways. The racist has watered down for the fact that they're not holding you up in the street and sucking you like this. But you know, you can see that coming. It's the subtle racism in the workforce, etc., that comes in from the small little kitchen window or the side door or the garden shed, and it comes at you from all kind of angles and you don't see it coming. When that hits you, you feel it even more because you don't expect it. And they come off with it with this kind of joke or this, no, it's not. It's still racist. It's still derogatory. It's still undermining me, and I don't deserve it. Stop it.
And still, my skin shade is a topic of discussion.
I concur with that. Has it changed? Yes, in many ways, and no in many ways. Yes, there's more opportunity. Yes, we can walk in certain areas we couldn't walk to back 40 or 50 years ago. Yes, we're freer to travel, and we have the opportunity to do so.
There I was, about to join up and fight for the mother country, England.
What is the future for the younger generation?
I can see a change in the younger generation. I definitely see a change. And I can't wait for them to grow up and be voters and to rulers and to be politicians. And that's where I think the biggest change is going to be. Remember, there's first generation, second generation, third generations, comes to fourth generations now.
They dress the same.
Yeah.
They speak the same.
Yes.
They listen to the same music. They eat the same foods.
Yeah.
There isn't many divisions between this generation now, and I'm seeing it in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful.
As a younger generation, can I rely on you?
People have fish and chips and rice and chicken and peas and Italian food and baltis and pizzas.
A plethora of different cultures into one.
Thank you both for talking to me.
Martin Luther King says, I have a dream. And I think that dream is becoming more reality. It's not there, it's not perfect, but it's closer to reality. Closer there, and we're edging and pushing our force our way there.